So now what we're looking at is we just flipped the page, and I think everything is written on this next one. A lot of you on the back of the study guide had it missing. Y'all remember that? Some of you didn't even know there was a back to the study guide, but it was like 4 questions, the 20th Amendment, and the Supreme Court packing. So Roosevelt was trying to expand the Supreme Court. This would have been a vile attempt to break down the delicate balance between the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches. Roosevelt wanted to expand the court because they had been axing or declaring unconstitutional several of his New Deal programs, such as the AAA, which paid the mortgages for the farmers, or also the National Recovery Act, which I did with y'all, where y'all were employed, right? And they weren't employed, and we cut y'all's hours in half and raised your wages, right? That is declared unconstitutional. So Roosevelt wanted to add like-minded judges. So would they be Democratic or Republicans? What is he? Is he a Democrat or is he a Republican? Democrat. And they said if he were to do this, this would expand his power as a president. It will not pass Congress. Okay, so do y'all get the Supreme Court packing? He's trying to add what to the Supreme Court? More what? More judges who think like who? Him. It won't happen. The second, the United States Housing Authority. This one's written out for you. It's Relief, Recovery, Reform. And what it is doing, it's creating housing for low-income people. It is going to create new buildings that fell tragically short of people's needs, because most of these people, they are living where? They've lost their home and they need housing. Where are they living? Shanty towns, the Hoovervilles. What this is creating, and we may know them in Waxahachie, there's 2 of them. Do y'all know where the Optimist Pool is? Right next to the Optimist Pool, there is something of the United States Housing Authority. Have you ever seen the red bricks there? Okay, those are called the projects. Have you ever been to where Turner Elementary is, next to Burleson Honey? In between there, there's another set of those. They're called the red bricks that are created from the United States housing. They're actually were segregated back in Waxahachie. The ones by the Optimist were for who? Whites. The ones over there by Burleson Honey and Turner High School back then, but Turner Elementary now, was for who? Blacks. We had segregated housing units. And this act is what creates the projects. Have you heard of the projects? Eventually we'll talk about why African Americans, and we're going to talk about de facto segregation when we get to the civil rights movement. Why is it that African Americans always live on the east side of the town? I'll get to that later. We just have to get your review quiz today. So, the Second Agricultural Adjustment Act. This is for farmers. It's already written down for you. It's going to pay, and I've already written down, it's going to pay them to plant soil conserving crops. Y'all had that on your study guide, and you probably don't understand what a soil conserving crop is. Have y'all ever been to Ennis going this way in April, and you see that the fields are flooded with sunflowers? Oh yeah, y'all remember that, every April. Because they're planting them because sunflowers are rejuvenating. They will rejuvenate the soil. Okay, so if we're asking farmers to plant sunflowers, what are they not planting? Crops. So what's going to happen to the crop prices? Go up. Do you think people are going to be happy with this? No. They're like, we're paying farmers not to farm. Okay? The next one on here is the Fair Labor Standards Act. This is Relief, Recovery, Reform, so we can put R, and R. We have to write something. What this is going to help labor. It is going to help labor. In interstate commerce, it is going to set a minimum wage and maximum hours. Oh, what do I put now? Minimum wage, maximum hours. And it's also going to forbid child labor under the age of 16. Wait, doesn't this sound like what today? Doesn't this sound like our laws for labor? Is there a maximum work hours today? What is it?
40.
Is there a minimum wage? Can you work under the age of 16? No, in some cases, yes, if you're not dealing with money or soft objects. Okay? Or if you're working on a farm, yes. But doesn't this set up what we know of our labor laws? Because the other one was declared unconstitutional. So what did y'all put here? Max hours, minimum wage, no what? Child labor. Who does this help?
Labor.
Labor. Okay, this next one, let me explain the Hatch Act. It is reform. I'm going to do this in an example. Let's say Ms. Verdeen is running for a judge. Okay, according to this, I cannot actively campaign or solicit on any government grounds. So can I right now go and give y'all flyers for my campaign to give to your parents? Because am I on government grounds? Yes. Can I do this at the courthouse? Can I do this at the DMV? So I can't do that if I'm running for judge. It also forbids the use of government funds for political purpose. So can I go run those flyers at that copier right there? Why not? Is that government funds? It's taxpayer funds. Can I use my classroom money to go and pay for the posters that are put on the side on the highways? No. Can then I go to my people who work for me, my secretary, and say, okay, I need your paycheck to pay for this so you could have a job? So this puts rules on campaigns. Now put that on the purpose. It puts rules on campaigns. Can I use government money? Okay, so for example, I'm going to talk about Bernie because he's not in the highest policy making one. Bernie, is he trying to run for president? Does he have a government job right now? Can he use the funding from what he is to pay for that? No. So most of these people who are running in the Democrats, they're all officials, right? But they cannot use government money. So what do they do to be able to fund this stuff? They do fundraisers. They get people to buy a $50 yard sign. Did that yard sign cost $50? No, the reason why they have to do that because they cannot use government funding for this. So basically, who is this helping? Is it helping us taxpayers that we're not funding political campaigns? Eventually, this is why some people will get in trouble in the near future. There was a guy in Dallas who was running for the he was running for, y'all know the sheriff's department? Mm-hmm. If you're the head sheriff, you actually have to run in your campaign. Well, he was using his sheriffs to go stuff cars and put under their windshield wiper the little pamphlet. Was he using government funds that day? And so he lost his job because of the Hatch Act. Okay, do y'all get the Hatch Act? Mm-hmm. Okay, most of these things that we just dealt with, all of them dealt with, what was a commonality amongst all of these programs? They created what? Jobs. Because he said if people got jobs, what would they get in their pockets? Money. And where did they need to put that money?
In the bank.
In the banks. Okay, so we got a couple of things to do really quick. I gotta escape out of this. You have this other note set. Okay, so we're going to look at the negatives of the New Deal and the positives. First off, it's going to deficit spend. The government did not have the money to create all of these jobs, so they're going to borrow the money. It's going to lead to corruption in the alphabet agencies, because who do you think they're going to hire, men or women? Who do you think they're going to hire, white men or black men? We're going to see it's going to create a huge federal bureaucracy, because we're going to get the creation of the Social Security Office, the Security Exchange Office. Many people say it's creeping socialism, because are we just hiring people just to hire them? Are we cared about their level of work ethic? We're going to see it became a welfare state. What program is going to equate to us being a welfare state? You'll all have it. It gets taken out of your paycheck. Social Security. It did not end the Depression. What would really end the Depression? World War II. It offered relief. The big relief was creating jobs. The federal government took responsibility for the people. It saved free enterprise, business. Because if the government employed people, what were the people doing with the business now? Buying their stuff. It led to fair distribution of income. It showed the power of the presidency. And also, it is going to set up our modern Democratic Party. So, let me explain this. Do y'all remember our first two parties? First two parties. At the very beginning of the first two. Do y'all remember them? Okay, so the Federalist Party, do y'all remember who created the Federalist Party? Alexander Hamilton. Thomas Jefferson created what party? Democratic Republicans, because the Federalist is a party, but the Anti-Federalist is a faction. Do y'all remember their government types?
Yeah.
This one wanted a big government, strong government. What did the Democrats want? Small government with states' rights. Over here, who are their people?
The rich people.
The business, rich, right? Who are the people of the Democratic Republicans? The common man, farmers, right? So now that we look at what we just saw with Roosevelt, y'all have this whole thing. Roosevelt is of what party right here? What party is he from? Democrat, right? Does this look like small government? No, it looks like what? Big government. So Roosevelt has just done big government, a Hamiltonian means to help who? Who did he keep on creating jobs for? The common man. Do y'all get this? He used a Hamiltonian means, big government, to help who? Does that look like our current parties today, where the Democrats believe in big government and they want to help the common man? And where our Republicans today believe in small government to help business? The Great Depression leads to the creation of our modern parties. Because y'all were very uncomfortable with it last semester being like this. Do y'all see where they flip now? Okay, so let's just look at a couple of these critics. The liberals, I screwed this up on y'all's study guide. Y'all know that Father Coughlin said that he wanted the government to own the industries. He wanted more social justice. We're going to see Huey Long, who was on there 2 times, wanted to share our wealth. He wanted to take from the rich to give to the poor, $5,000. He's going to be shot in the next unit. Okay. Dr. Francis Townsend, who is missing on your study guide because I had 2 Hueys on there. He wants everybody over the age of 60 to get $200. What will that eventually be? Social Security. Supreme Court, they're against him because they declared a lot of his legislation unconstitutional. And then Alfred Landon is going to be the one who runs against him. You don't need to know him. We need to do a review quiz.